biggest benefit of the bye week?
Well, I think we got, we weren't, I wouldn't say we were beat up, but we had a couple of nicks here and there. I think we got a little healthier and got a chance to, get a jump on South Dakota State and really just hone up some things technique-wise. Just gave us a chance to get some more practice in. And I think that, it benefited us. So we gave them a little bit of rest over the weekend and came back. And so hopefully we used it to our advantage.
Coach, I know you're not a rah-rah guy, but obviously from our standpoint, two teams ranked in the top 5 and that sort of thing, night game and all that stuff. Just your thoughts on the matchup.
I think it's a good matchup. I think I have a tremendous amount of respect for South Dakota State and how they play, how well. I think they're a really well-coached football team. They play physical. They're good in all 3 phases of the game. I mean, they're a good football team, and they have some. They're very talented in some, across the board, and it'll be a good challenge for our football team.
I mean, the 3 guys we hear about from an offensive standpoint: the quarterback Christian, Weineke, and Goddard, to tell you that.
Yeah, all 3 of them really good players. They have some good running backs. I know, they all run hard. They play football the right way. He has a culture going over there that the kids, I think they're accountable. They're disciplined. They play tough. They play physical, and that, to me, those are signs of a good football team and a very well coached football team.
How important is it going to be to get off to a good start? It seems like they jumped on teams this year and sort of got out to the lead last year as well in our game against them. So.
Well, I mean, I think it's always important, but you don't really know how the game's going to go. You don't want to fall behind early, but if you do, you gotta, it's a 4-quarter game. But obviously, we want to get off to a good start and play well early. And I think that they do a nice job early in games, and they might give you a couple things here and there that maybe you haven't seen. You got to react well, and at the end of the day, you got to be prepared to execute our game plan in all 3 phases of the game, and play well and make. When you're in position, you got to make plays. I mean, the team that makes the most plays is going to win the game.
From a coaching standpoint, is it any more difficult to prepare for their offense than it is other teams?
Well, I mean, I think that they're a very balanced offense. I think that it's a very well thought out offense. I mean, the quarterback obviously is a challenge. I mean, we all know that they have playmakers all over the field, but it starts with the quarterback, and the quarterback can hurt you with his arm. He can hurt you with his legs. He's, they'll have a few designed quarterback runs. They do a lot of run pass options. It's a multifaceted offense that makes you, you better be on point defensively, and you better understand, and be able to make adjustments during the game and that type of thing. But they challenge you in some areas that you have to execute well. You got to execute the game plan well.
Oh, just a follow-up, Joe. Because this is the 3rd time you're facing them, I'm assuming somewhat familiar with their personnel. Does that kind of make it easier? You kind of know what to expect, or do they?
You know what to expect, but you still got to make the plays. And let's face it, the tight end's a good player, the wide receiver's a good player, the quarter. I mean, they can hurt you in a number of different areas. So, therefore, you got to be on point. So like I said, we'll prepare hard this week, and develop a game plan, and hopefully be ready to execute at a high level, because that's what it's going to require.
Going back to what you said about the bye week, you had some guys that had minor things or whatever recovering. So is everybody ready to go from a health standpoint, like Hunter, Cam?
Yeah, everybody's ready to go. Knock on wood.
What jumps out about you, either schematically or matchup-wise, about their defense?
Defensively, they're not fancy. I think that they play really good technique. They're physical. They're sound in what they do, so they're well coached, and they play disciplined football. They kind of do what they do and make you have to beat them. And so that's. They'll blitz some, not a huge blitz team, but they're a well coached team. They're well coached, so you gotta execute well.
Did you sense that players were a little bit refreshed following the bye week coming in?
I think so. I think anytime, it's early in the year, the last 2 weeks, probably the last 2 games, probably we didn't, obviously wasn't when they weren't extremely taxing on us. So it wasn't like, it's not like that point of the season where you just needed the week off to get away from the grind. We're only 3 weeks. We were only 3 games in, so. But I think, for college kids, you don't have it's a little bit different during the bye week. It kind of gets them a chance to get away from a little bit. I'm sure most of them enjoyed their weekend and their time off because that's a novelty this time of year, players and coaches alike.
You did?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I worked, last week, and we came, I think that'll be my last Saturday off in a long time. So.
Coach, you've got some veterans that have been through this grind of the conference schedule before, but you've got some new guys that haven't experienced what this league is all about. Do you spend any time addressing that with some of the guys that will be part of it here very soon?
That word gets. I mean, they understand what's coming. I mean, our players, they're not. They don't live with their head in the sand. They know what the challenge is. They know. They have the necessary respect for the opponent who's coming in here, and so I think that gets your attention. It makes you prepare that much harder and get ready to go.
Coach, you mentioned the run pass options that they like to mix in. We hear a lot about that in college football nowadays, how much that's employed. What do you have to do as a defense? What do you stress to your defense when you're trying to defend those types of plays?
Do your job. There's certain things that you have to be. I mean, don't try to do somebody else's job because they'll get you. There's certain things that by formation, defense, whatever it may be, that you have your responsibility. You got to handle your responsibility and trust that the guys around you are going to do the same. And it requires some discipline, focus, and you got to be accountable. I mean, to do what you're being asked to do.
For your 3 non-conference games, do you feel like you got, players and coaches got everything you wanted out of them? Like, does everyone have a good sense of, what you guys need to work on, what your strengths and weaknesses are?
Well, I don't think it's ever perfect. I mean, you can never, you don't, schedules are made way in advance. I don't know if it's ever perfect to you. I think we were able to identify some areas that obviously we need to get better at, and some things that I think we can do well, and and then you try to continue to work on those things, and that process goes the whole year. I think that Saturday will be a good test for us, for South Dakota State. I think you learn a lot about your football team in a game like this. I shouldn't say, it's not a definitive thing of what you learn, but you kind of have, your next assessment of where you are. And, for us, how far we've come in the last month and how much further we have to go. Because I know this, win or lose Saturday night, we're still going to be, there's still going to be a lot more out there for us to be able to do as far as getting better. If come Saturday night, if we win the football game, or if you lose a football game, let's say we win the game, though, you're not the finished product yet. You better keep getting better, and that's always got to be the case.
Coach, you've had experiences in the NFL, and I don't know if you want to answer or not, but just what's going on in the NFL. You guys carry a flag out every time you guys take the field, so on and so forth. Any comment or not on that? What's happening in the NFL?
Well, I was asked that yesterday. To me, it's disappointing, and I know people have the right to protest, or everybody seems to have their agendas of what they want to protest these days. But I think there's a time and a place, and in my humble opinion, that's not the time or the place. So, like I said, everybody to their own, but that's my opinion.
With the size of some of the receivers, you know how talented they are. What kind of things do you have to stress to your guys when defending? Any different or anything
Excuse me, say that again, one more time?
Big receivers that they have. besides
Yeah.
Some of the guys. Is there anything different you stress to your guys when defending guys like that?
Well, I think you got to be physical, and you got to when you get your hands on them, and they're. I think the quarterback does a nice job of giving them a chance to catch the ball. So you better play the football. You know if you're right there, and you're not ready to play the football or get your hand on it, and a lot of times they're going to make the catch. These guys are good players, and you got to be strong at the ball, and you got to be in position and ready to make a play on the football.
Do you feel a level of excitement surrounding these games as far as around campus and just the kids, the top 5 matchup? And there seems like there's been a little bit more, a better atmosphere ever since last year getting on that run in the playoffs.
Well, you know, I know our kids are excited. I've been kind of in my cave, you know, for the last couple days, so I don't really know what's going on campus unless it's happening in our film room. But I think hopefully, you know, and I'm really hoping that there's a really good crowd on Saturday night. I think both teams deserve it, and you know, hopefully we're at that point where people understand that there's some pretty good football being played over here, and there's going to be a good football game being played Saturday night. And I'd put it up against any football game that's going to be going on in the country. And people need to understand that these two football teams, you know, BCS conference or no non-BCS conference, can line up and beat a lot of football teams out there. So there's going to be good football being played in standby Saturday night.